And other news, amid the ongoing military standoff between India and China, External Affairs Minister S Jaishankar says the state of border will determine the state of ties between India and China.
Right, Gargi, the Minister of External Affairs has spoken at the launch of Asia Society Policy on Monday, saying that the future of Asia depends on how the relationship between India and China pans out. That's what Jaishankar said at that meet.
Much of the future of Asia depends on how relations between India and China develop in the foreseeable future. For ties to return to a positive trajectory and remain sustainable, they must be based on the three mutuals: mutual sensitivity, mutual respect, and mutual interest. Their current status is, of course, well known to all of you. I can only reiterate that the state of the border will determine the state of the relationship.
Well, let's go across to our colleague Maha for more on this. And Maha, very strong message there from the foreign minister.
Yes, Gargi, but this is the fourth time this month itself that the External Affairs Minister has reiterated and underlined the fact that the border situation in eastern Ladakh is going to determine the overall bilateral relations between the two countries, India and China. As you well know, the border situation in eastern Ladakh has stretched over 2 years now. And we have seen a disengagement only at Pangong and at Gogra. There are many other sensitive areas, especially, for instance, Depsang, where there has been no disengagement, and that has been a major concern to the Indian side, especially because it's strategic in nature, and this friction has stretched over 2 years now. In that context, the External Affairs Minister has yet again underlined the fact that unless and until the border situation and in eastern Ladakh specifically is resolved, and this is not just about disengagement, this is also about de-escalation. He has pointed out yet again this month itself that opposed to all the agreements and protocols between India and China, China amassed heavy troops at the line of actual control, which is violating those norms. And therefore, unless and until that situation also gets resolved, so both disengagement and de-escalation happens, till then getting the relationship back on track to where it was pre-2020 as far as the bilateral ties between the two sides are concerned will be extremely difficult. But Gargi, if you speak to experts, they also point out that despite the fact that over the 2 years we have seen this friction between the two sides, trade has only gone up between India and China, and we have also seen it being skewed more in favor of China. On other aspects, bilaterally, the two sides may not be talking, but Wang Yi had traveled to India this year, though it was a very low-key affair. The two have been meeting, that is Jaishankar and Wang Yi have been meeting at multilateral fora on the sidelines, having a conversation largely around the friction. However, other aspects have also been discussed, like the aspect of students, the flights. So many also argue that is India putting enough cost on China? That is something that experts believe, but External Affairs Minister believes that unless and until the border situation is resolved, going back to the ties that were earlier on is not possible.
Right. Thank you so much, Maha, for joining us with all those details.